everybody. It is Monday. It is the Monday after 5 Cream. I'm here with J-Dev. J-Dev, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, and I feel like I want to go see Scream 2022 right after this stream again, because it's a Scream, baby.
Oh, yeah, it is. How many times have you seen it?
4 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm a
Now,
devoted fan.
how have you landed on it at this point? Like, have you settled in on where you'd put it in your ranking?
I already did my ranking, and the funny thing is, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah. Like the second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. It got better as the time's going on. So it's in the middle. 2, 1, 2022, 4, 3.
Okay.
There was a very brief thought of putting it ahead of 1. Brief. But there's flaws in the movie that really make me go, no, can't do that.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. And I want to say what's up to everybody that's in the chat. We got Apollo, Rudy, we got Ken, we've got, let's see, Kill Count, Antonis, John. How is everybody doing this evening? If you guys saw my post on Instagram, Ken was going to be here, but as you guys know, Ken is a dad, as I am a dad, and if you can't get a sitter and you got to chase a kid around all day, you know, it's very problematic to do that, to stream while having to do that. So, but Ken is in the house. Now, really quick, we're gonna cover a few things here. We're really just talking Scream 5. You know, what's up, Mike? What's up, T. Parker Evans? And basically, it's going to be more or less, it's going to be spoilers. So if you guys have not seen this movie and you guys don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this. If you have seen it or you don't care about spoilers, hey, here we are. We're going to dive into the spoilers. What's up, bro? New to the channel. What's up, man? How you doing? I definitely have a passion for Halloween, as you can see behind me. So I appreciate the support, man. I'm glad you found us through the podcast. Nice to have you on here. So first and foremost, we're gonna kind of break this down too. All right, so let's start it. J-Dev, the opening sequence of this movie. It's very important in a Scream movie. How'd you feel about this opening sequence?
I liked it. I liked the fact that they gave Roger L. Jackson a lot of time, because normally the time he gets is very limited. And it felt like he got like a lot of time for this opening and throughout the movie versus, other movies where it seems like he's not really featured at all. So I enjoyed it. As far as like where I'd rank it, it's not the best, but it's okay. I find it weird that they didn't kill Tara. That's a little strange that you don't have an opening kill. We're led to believe that she could have died, but no, she's alive and well and recovered pretty quickly already. But
yeah,
it's a movie.
Mike, yes, you can spoil in the comments. I've let everybody know beforehand. If you're still watching, you have accepted the risk. And that risk is that you're going to be spoiled. So feel free to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in the comments as well. You guys saw Justin popped in here. He was going to be on with us, but he was not able to see it today because over here in the, Midwest, I guess you'd call it, we got some snow, and his theater was closed due to weather. So, he's going tomorrow to see it. But here's my thing about the opening for me. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the kind of like Roger L. Jackson pretending to be her mom's boyfriend or whatever. And you knew it was his voice as he's talking.
Oh yeah.
But like he seemed like normal kind of, and you're like, this is actually kind of creepy. And then as it's going on, he gets into every time he mentions, like he says the words like scary movies, like he goes into the voice and you're like, oh, you sly dog, you. I really liked it. I thought it gave Ghostface time to breathe, and it wasn't so to the point of like phone rings and it's like, I'm gonna gut you like a fish. Like, it breathed a little bit, and I liked that. It brought me back to the feel of the first movie for sure. But I do think it's a better opening than 4, and
yes.
a lot of people love the opening to 2, and I'm not a huge fan of the opening in 2.
It's okay.
I mean, I like 1, 3, and then probably this opening, if I'm being totally honest, because although Scream 3 is my least favorite, I love that opening.
I kind of agree with you on that ranking right there. I feel the 2 opening could have been a lot better, but there's things in it like how did they know that he was going to go in that bathroom stall? And it's they could have had a better
How did he know
scenario than that.
his ear was right at that exact spot? It's suspension of disbelief. I get it. And how did no one in the theater see the real blood this woman was covered in? Like, there's a lot about it that I'm like, this is a little weird, whatever. But but yeah, Tara, as far as Tara goes, look, I thought she was one of the best actors in this movie. So I was glad she lived but I will say, when you watch it, you're like, oh God, like there's no way she's going to survive that. And then I can't remember who it is later on in the movie, if it's Richie or if it's Amber that says Ghostface saying like, I'm going to make sure I hit all the organs I missed last time or something along those lines, where it's like the attack, I think, was intentional. Like the stab wounds were intentionally placed in certain places that it wouldn't kill her, because they wanted to bring Sam back, obviously, to town with Tara still being alive, and then have to, tell her secret and all that. So I thought that was smart. But I just felt like it was a little hard at times for me to believe that she lived. But I will say, too, I wonder how you feel about this. You've seen the movie multiple times now. I'm going to see it again later this week with my brother. Christina, yes. Paramount is actually already developing it. There hasn't been an official announcement yet, but industry insiders have already said Paramount is beginning to develop the next.
There's going to be another one, whether it's a streaming movie or it goes to theaters. So
there will be another one for sure. But Apollo's mentioning something, the knife through the hand, the stepping on the leg, and like that was brutal. But
yeah, that was.
I think my favorite part of the entire opening scene is when she's trying to crawl away, and you get that shot of Ghostface just like standing up, like with his head turned, and it's all epic of him like standing over her, walking toward her, and the music. I was just like, oh, that's beautiful.
And that's supposed to be Amber there. Well, I don't know about that, but
in my mind, that's Richie. I don't give a shit what the movie says. That's Richie.
Or it's Stu. Or it's Stu.
Yeah, it's Stu. It was Stu. Hey, guys, we know this would not be new ground for this franchise to cover if we get to like 6 and 7 and eventually find out Stu was behind all of it. Because remember, Scream 3, Roman was apparently behind Billy and Stu from the very beginning. So wouldn't be new ground to break there. But
maybe we didn't get it in this movie, but I'm pretty certain Stu will come back. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit later on in this, Sorry, expectations. No, you're fine. You're fine. So the next thing I want to talk about is, okay, we get that. And yes, Rudy, we'll talk about those too, because they were awesome. We're introduced to the new cast that we're supposed to get to know. First and foremost, I love
technical difficulties here. Please stand by. Can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I usually kick things and then they tend to work.
How about now?
Yes? I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. I don't know what the hell happened to my laptop. Sorry, guys.
It happens.
So we're introduced to the new cast. And first and foremost, I want to say, I love Dylan Minnette as an actor. And I liked him as Wes. I liked, believe it or not, I liked Mason Gooding's character. I thought in the trailers, I was like, this guy's going to be your typical jock that nobody gives a shit about. And he's going to die this like total unceremonious death. I actually liked him. And then Liv was weird. Liv was a little quirky, a little interesting. But aside from that, I did not like Amber from the very beginning. I just didn't. It wasn't bad acting. I was just like, yeah, you're a bitch. I don't like you. Um, yeah. What do you think about the new cast?
Well, I absolutely love Chad and Mindy. I love them
Oh yeah,
as
Mindy.
characters.
Forgot to mention Mindy.
They
She was
are,
great too.
yeah, how could you forget that? They're
Yeah,
awesome.
I know.
The I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but it seemed like there wasn't enough characters, so it was easy to predict who the killers were in this movie because obviously, most likely, the relatives aren't going to be doing the killings, especially when we see Martha with Chad and Mindy. But I love them a lot. Richie, I think, was hilarious, even though he was really predictable as the killer. Um, Amber, I'm indifferent. Liv, I thought she was hot, but she really didn't do a lot. She was kind of a red herring. It was either her or Amber was going to be the second killer. That was the only reason they were in the movie. Judy Hicks, I've never liked Judy Hicks, so I was kind of glad she got off. Dylan Minnette, I was surprised that they killed him off, and they named him Wes just so they could have a party in honor of Wes. So I think that was a good touch. But I like the majority of the newer cast. I think they were good, and of course our core characters we love.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was making sure my mic. I wasn't coming through my mic. I was coming through my laptop, so I had to. That's why I made that weird like bop bop bop. Like I was like, what is going on? So yeah, dude. Mindy. I can't believe I didn't mention her. She was funny as hell. I loved when she's sitting on the couch and she's like, I'm gonna eat some snacks and what drink and then maybe grope that other girl over there, and then she gives that look like, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Um, let's see. So that's the new crew that we've got. And then we get introduced to some of the older ones. So we get Dewey, and we see Dewey. He's a little down on his luck. Self-created. They kind of forced him to retire because he clearly his head wasn't in the game anymore. Whether that was because of mainly Gale. And then we see Judy Hicks, and she's still got her goofy walk. They made a point to do that in the hallway of the hospital, her like little goofy walk. And I was like, okay, she's still got her stupid walk. But yeah, I mean, with them, I loved the introduction of Dewey back into it. I thought that Dewey was finally given the spotlight in this movie. And I know why they did that, because they were like, well, we're going to kill you, so we might as well give you the spotlight here. You got surprisingly little of Judy Hicks. I mean, she's in like 2 scenes, maybe 3, and then she's dead.
That was surprising. I love her kill in the daytime though, because we didn't expect it to happen right there at that moment. So that was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, what'd you think about the reintroduction to Dewey?
I thought he did very good. There's some of these movies where Dewey is not very powerful as a character. I feel like in 2 he's good, 3 he's okay, 4 and 1 he almost can be not in the movie. That's maybe not necessarily 4, but definitely 1. But I thought this was the best that Dewey's looked since Scream 2, and maybe even better than Scream 2 in his limited performance that he's in the movie for.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. And I think that it was cool too how they referenced some things from previous movies, but they didn't lean too hard into them, because I think the filmmakers understood like we kind of want to break new ground here, but we want to respect what came before it. Like I loved the note on the fridge. Wes, there's lemon squares in the fridge or freezer or whatever, and the look he gives when he reads it too. Because her lemon squares taste like ass. We all know that. So that was cool. I thought that their relationship was really organic too. They seemed to work well off of each other. I believed, that's a mom and a son, whatever. But I'm trying to remember what the first kill is after that. Is the first kill
that Vince character?
Vince. Okay, so let's talk
that
about
we didn't really know anything about. Apparently, he's related to Stu somehow, some way. But
yes, I guess it was long. Stu's sister's son, so his nephew.
Yeah.
This is the thing about Vince. I like Kyle Gallner as an actor, and they give no room for you to know anything about him at all. He's just like, I'm going to start shit because I had a thing with your girlfriend last year.
Yeah,
And then
lives X. That's what we know about him, and he's related to Stu.
And then dead. And I know why they did it, because it's immediately to make the audience go, oh, wait, is it, what's the brother's name? The twin brother?
Chad.
Right. So yeah, it's immediately to go, oh, did he do it? Because he has motive. So like I get the whole thing with the who done it there, but that was a very quick kill too. I think it's the only kill in this, in this franchise, not in this franchise, in this film that is just so like one stab done. Like that's it. One stab, watch you die. Okay, bye.
We didn't see the. Sorry to interrupt. Nick.
The silhouette.
We didn't see in the trailer we saw that big silhouette, and we didn't see that in this. But
I was going to
feel
talk
there's
about
a lot
that
of
too.
stuff they cut out of it that we're going to see in like deleted scenes that'll make it even better. Like especially Vince,
it was such a
like
bummer.
He has more time.
It was such a bummer that they kind of trimmed that scene from what we saw in the trailer, because that silhouette shot in the trailer was one of the coolest parts of that trailer. I remember seeing that and being like, oh yeah, Ghostface is back. But yeah, Ben Grimm brings up a good point. Red Right Hand. They brought Red Right Hand back.
Love it.
I thought it was great. Although he turned it off right before it went into the chorus.
But it went back on.
I know. It came back on, luckily, as he's dying. And I was like, that is fantastic.
I was singing along when they start. My date was like, why are you singing? Be quiet. I'm like, I can't help it. It's Red Right Hand.
Like, you don't understand. So, yeah, I mean, what'd you think of the alley kill? What'd you think of that setup?
That was pretty interesting. This movie is amazing. I'm blown away by the fact that it started off, but it gets better and better and better for me. And I think the tension in this was really good. Whereas I think in Scream 4, elements of it really didn't have any tension. To me, I know some people are big fans of Scream 4, as am I, but as far as a Scream movie, I think this one specifically was done better. I wish Vince's kill would have been more noteworthy, like around somebody to witness it, so it would have a bigger effect. And I will say this, going forward, I will no longer watch trailers for movies like this. I feel like the trailer gave too much away.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I myself was surprised with the stuff I saw in the trailer to see how they cut that in the film itself, this is perfect timing. Pizzow's in here. What's up, man?
I am awesome.
Yes, very excited for Scream 6. Piz actually was he was talking to Christian and I, because he had some scoops on it before the movie came out, and I mentioned to him, I said, what's the chrome mask and flamethrower thing going on in the trailer? And he goes, it's not in the movie. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Is this one of the like misdirect things that the filmmakers were talking about? And then come to find out, no, it technically is in the movie, but it's not in the movie. It's a throwaway
stab in space. No.
Yeah, from Stab. And now looking back on it, when I look at the screen grab of that shot, Ghostface is not where there's no sleeves in it. It's with the chrome mask. It's a sleeveless Ghostface with a chrome mask. It should have been so obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me at all. And I'm just like, oh my God, chrome Ghostface with a flamethrower? Like, this movie's going balls to the wall. So that didn't happen, obviously. But there were some things that, the trailer was a little misleading in ways. They definitely didn't include some things that were in the trailer, which was kind of a bummer. Like we talked about already, the silhouette of Ghostface in the alleyway was fantastic. So we get there, and then J-Dev, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this, because this is one of my favorite moments of this movie. The entire scene revolving around Judy Hicks and her son Wes. And let me tell you something. To anybody that says you can't do suspense anymore in horror films, they are so wrong. Because this was a tense scene. I don't care. It was tense. And I see you guys in the chat talking about the killers. We'll get there. Don't worry. I just don't want to.
We'll talk about them.
Yeah, we'll get there. I promise. So stick around. But man, that scene was tense. Ghostface was very maniacal, very toying with her in a very effective way. And dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't see this coming at all. I thought she was going to get home. She was going to walk in, and it was going to be one of those moments where she walks in and we see Wes dead. We didn't, and we would have gone like, oh, but we didn't see him die. So like, he's probably still alive. And she walks in, he's dead. And we're like, shit, she didn't make it in time. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen. She doesn't even get to make it in the house because Ghostface comes out from the behind the bushes by the front door and just annihilates her. And it was so mean. And it was so brutal and ballsy. I mean, in broad daylight. And it wasn't just a quick stab here. It was just like, nah, I'm really going to make sure you're in pain right now. And I think that was done to give some suspicion to maybe Sam's character, because we know she doesn't like the Sheriff Hicks. So there's things that I think they did on purpose. That was like, oh, here's motive for this person. Here's motive for that person. So that was effective. But then we get the elongated, oh, there's going to be a jump scare. Oh, there's going to be a jump scare in the kitchen with Wes. And it's just such a great setup. It's because it's like they're just toying with you. And then when it happens, you get my favorite kill of the movie with the knife through the neck, which is a practical effect. And it looks beautiful. I mean, beautiful. T. Parker, I agree. I thought one was going to die, but not both. It's probably the best death in the movie and also one of the worst because I really liked his character. I thought he was one of the stronger actors of the friend group. So I'm like, damn.
I agree.
You know, so that sucked. But what a scene. J-Dev, tell me, what'd you think of that?
Well, we're not talking about the phone call that happened where he's in the shower and it's like a direct correlation to Psycho. Like,
yeah, you're right.
That was awesome. I thought, not that I'm a huge Psycho fan, but I know about it because obviously it's an iconic scene. And like, oh, you're gonna be late or something like that. And then she like goes even faster. Like, I feel like other characters would have went the same speed, possibly, surprisingly enough. And again, I don't like Judy Hicks as a character at all. I feel like there was more to her that was going to happen if Scream 5 would have happened, back in 2012 or 2013, just because how creepy she was in Scream 4. So I was clapping when she died, but it was definitely brutal. And I did not expect her to get killed outside with Ghostface just jumping out and taking care of her. And of course the fake out stuff with Wes, which I knew after the first time they were going to repeat it. And then of course I'm waiting for it to happen as he turns back around. But that practical effect was awesome. And it was really weird that he died because I thought just a small thought that he was one of the killers, only because he's the one that made the phone call to Sam to get her to come back to Woodsboro. So I thought maybe he might be the other killer. Of course, when he died, I knew that wasn't correct. So I thought, again, this is one of the best.
I can still hear you. Keep talking. Okay. I can still hear you.
Nick is going to take a break for a second. I thought it was one of the best kills in the franchise. Both of them, actually. Obviously, the Casey Becker kills phenomenal, but the Wes and Judy kills were pretty awesome and probably the best stuff as far as kills in the movie. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one thing too that I wanted to mention, and I see my buddy Drew asked me in the chat, and now people are kind of talking about it in the chat. We're going to go into this next. The return of Skeet Ulrich with de-aging and makeup. It was a mix of both, and what we think of it. I don't think it was bad at all. I really don't. You can tell. Like, I think people have. I feel like there's an unfair assumption that technology is so advanced now that you should be able to do it and not notice whatsoever. I just think that's unfair. Like, you're going to notice because it's not organic. It's not real. So there's going to be moments where you're like, I can tell that's not real, but I thought it was handled really well. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I really did. He looked pulled right out of the first movie. It wasn't off-putting to me. I didn't look at it like I've seen some in movies. Let's not even talk about the remastered reissue of Star Wars Return of the Jedi with Hayden Christensen and them as Force Ghosts, where you're just like, oh God. Boy. Yeah. No, this I thought was handled really well. What did you think about it?
Are you sure that they de-aged him? Because he doesn't really look that old. At least when I've met him, it might not be de-aging. They might have put a little bit of makeup on him, but I don't know for sure.
What I was what I have gathered from what I don't know if the filmmakers have outright said it, but I've heard from many like industry, I guess you could say like scoopers, sources in the industry or whatever that are in the know. They said that it was a mix of both. So I guess we'll get clarification on that with the 4K Blu-ray release and whatnot, and with behind the scenes. I'm sure they're going to talk
I don't think it was, but it was.
But if it wasn't, that's even better,
right? Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, but
it was a
that
good
was
surprise. It was a good surprise because you knew somebody was going to be in the movie, not including Martha, and I'm thinking it was going to be Mark Kincaid because obviously there was a callback to him, and we'll get to that soon. I thought that's who it was going to be, especially when I heard that. What actually that happened after that, I don't know, but that I did not expect.
Yeah, we're not going entirely in order. We're just kind of staying around the same time that these.
I jump around from thing to thing.
Yeah.
I constantly do that. So if I do that, don't be mad at me. But it was a surprise to see Skeet, and that was something that was leaked on Instagram. Judy Hicks, I believe it was, Mary Sheldon had posted an Instagram post and tagged him in the post about a year ago. And then people were like, why is she tagging Skeet, in this post? And then it was deleted. So, but I didn't know about it. So I was clueless that Skeet was going to be in this movie. And I thought it was a good touch to, go back to the original and have Billy in this movie. And not just for one scene. He's in a few of them, which made it even better. So I definitely liked it, and it added something to Sam's character. Whether or not it completely makes sense, that's debatable. But I feel like she was one of the weakest characters in the movie at times, but that made it her better, having him kind of be there in her mind, and that's why she's taking the pills, because she's fucked up.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to say as well. I didn't buy into Sam as a character until the third act. I just didn't. I thought that her acting, especially with some of the people she was next to, Jenna Ortega is a very good actress. Dylan Minette's a very good actor. There's these actors and actresses that she was working off of. David Arquette's a very good actor. And she just paled in comparison to them. Like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, you're supposed to be my new Sydney. And I don't feel like you bring that gravitas. Like, I didn't buy it. So I'm sure she's not a bad actress because she showed some stuff in the third act for sure, but it took some getting going to get there. And then as far as the take with Billy as like this anti-hero almost now was interesting. I know there's a lot of people on the fence about that. The way I take it is he is and he isn't. Because the first few times you see him, he's almost trying to convince Sam to lean into her psychotic, DNA and kill like he did. And she's fighting it. And she's like, no, fuck that. And then he becomes like, all right, I guess you're not going to be like me. So here, let me help you out. Oh my God, look at this, guys. JDev TV with a $20 super chat. I got to get this guy on the channel ASAP. He is on here with me, and he is contributing to the show. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. You're keeping the lights on in my guest room. I'm glad Hugo, Justin hasn't seen it yet. He got snowed in, so he can't see it till tomorrow. So
he waited till the last minute. I knew something like this was going to happen.
That's what I'm saying, and I know Justin's not going to watch this, so we can talk shit and be like, Justin, you bastard. You should have gone and seen it opening night like everybody else.
Or Friday night,
I digress. Yeah, I digress. But yeah, I mean, I liked that take on his character. I really did. It didn't bother me. But yeah, I agree with T. Parker here. I would rather take Tara as the new Sydney. You know what I mean? Like, I thought her acting was just far better. I don't know. Maybe that's me. JDev says that it was a fake JDev with the super chat. Fake JDev.
Oh, a fake JDev.
It's a variant. It's a variant JDev. Where we're getting into the MCU now and shit's getting weird. Boy. Yeah. But yeah, so we got that. Let's see. Okay. You said you wanted to talk about this, so I can't wait. Sidney Prescott gets the phone call from Dewey. Set it up. How you feeling? What's happening when you're seeing this on screen?
I liked it. Looking back on it, I'm a little bummed that that's the last we get of Dewey and Sydney together, at least on the phone. I would have preferred them to have a scene in the movie when they're both alive. The thing I took away from it is he said, "How's Mark?" I'm like, Mark, Kincaid. You know, I hope. I don't know if Sydney comes back for another movie. I don't know. It feels like this was a send off to Gail and Sydney. We're not going to kill you off.
Nev Campbell did say she has interest in coming back. She has said that.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm hoping she does too, because we'll get to her a little bit later too. Okay. Apollo, I don't think Amber or Richie did have Sydney's number. Yeah, well, no, that's not true, because at the end of the movie, when she's in the house, I don't think that's her phone that she picks up. I don't think that's her phone that she picks up. That was just a phone that was sitting there.
Sitting on the counter.
Yeah, and she picked it up because she knew it was going to be for her, obviously. I don't think they ever actually had her number. Yeah, but like you said, I was waiting for the Mark Kincaid reference, and she mentions Mark. You know what happens in the scene? We're watching this scene.
Did you know about that ahead of time?
I had heard rumors from a scooper that had seen the movie that said that he was going to be mentioned. So I was waiting for it. I was like, they're going to say his name. But this scene's happening, and I love how it was like, I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun. But my wife is just laughing the entire time because she's like, this woman's supposed to have 2 babies. She's like in her late 40s. I'm like, my mom had kids in her 40s. Like, what does that mean? But she's laughing at the idea that Sydney has 2 young children. But I liked it. I did like it. I thought that it was nice because she told Dewey, she's like, I'm not coming back. So like, thanks for letting me know, dude. But good luck. Because
I have no intentions of coming there.
Like, I'm not going back there. And I thought that was really cool because I worried that this movie was going to have her get reached out to and her go, okay, I feel obligated now to go back to Woodsboro. No, she was like, why the fuck would I want to do that? Like, why on earth would I be like, hey, let's go, man. Let's go back to Woodsboro and involve myself in this murderous rampage. I don't know. What did you think about that? Do you think it was organic?
I wasn't sure what was going to happen with that. With what happens to Dewey, if I were her, I wouldn't have come either, just because that's trying to lure her back into Woodsboro. But it wasn't really about her that much. It was more about Sam. But I obviously love the scene, knowing that that's now the last time that Suey. So why do I keep saying Suey? Wow. Okay. Sydney and Dewey talk, unless she has a hallucination. I do think David Arquette will come back for another movie as a hallucination or a dream sequence or something like that. It only makes sense that he would, even though that's annoys me when that stuff happens. But for this, I'll be okay with it. But it's certainly memorable. And I wish some of the stuff in the trailer where she said, of course I had to have a gun. I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. I wish they wouldn't have shown things like that. I wish that would have been all a surprise.
Yes, but I do love that there was a surprise in that, in the F-bomb, because we didn't obviously have that in the trailer. So I'm expecting her to say, I'm Sidney Prescott. Of course I have a gun. But she goes, I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. I'm like, ooh, okay. Little spicier. I like it. Drew mentions the Easter egg of Tatum's ashes on Dewey's mantle, which was fantastic. I love that. But we only got one quick throwaway scene with Heather Matarazzo,
whatever her last name is.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, come on! I wanted to see a little bit more of her. She was goofy in the third one
when she just randomly popped up out of nowhere. One of my complaints about the movie. Hey, we got a shrine of Randy, which was awesome, by the way.
Yes,
in that scene.
Yes.
And at least, what the hell's her name now? I'm drawing a blank. Martha is still alive, so maybe she can be in another movie and have more of a defined role and bigger role in it. I think there's a lot of potential for these other characters that we don't know about yet. These dads and moms of certain people, sisters, who's, I think there's a lot of stuff that they could do for the next one. They need a way bigger cast so it's less predictable, in my opinion.
Oh, yes, and I think we will get that, because that was one thing about Scream 3 that made the surprise in Scream 3 surprising, was that there was a lot of people involved. So you're like, okay, who is the sick bastard out of this group? Now, Apollo wants to know, how did Richie and Amber discover Sam's secret? Do we know? Yeah, because I don't think we ever find out. I remember when Richie is like doing his monologue, I was waiting for Sam to say, like, how did you know? Or when Sydney, of all people, was like, when she meets Sam for the first time, she goes, "You're Billy Loomis's daughter." And Sam's like confused, but she doesn't ask, how'd you know that? She goes, "Yeah, I am." And I'm like, okay, where there's some gray area here.
Apparently everybody but Tara doesn't know about it.
Yeah, I guess the whole town of Woodsboro, and that was the explanation. Like, oh, it's a small town, like small town, but come on, I mean, it's kind of a bombshell, But regardless, whatever, we'll get off that. So it's we're in full blown mayhem now. We're in the second act of the movie. Dewey goes into the hospital. They're in the hospital with Tara. You got this cool, suspenseful scene where I loved when Sam was like, or maybe I'm just stalling for time, and opens the elevator door and Ghostface is like, oh, fuck. I thought that was cool. That was smart. And it's like, all right, we got everyone. Let's get out. And Dewey's like, I gotta go. You gotta shoot him in the head. And she's like, who cares? He says, I do.
Elevator goes shut.
Jason, walk me through it. Walk me through your emotions. Walk me through what you thought of this scene.
Well, first, before that happens, the fact that Richie gets cut, I was like, okay, 100% sure now I know that he's the killer.
Jill got cut in Scream 4.
Yep. And Billy got cut in Scream 1. Corn syrup. But so there's that. But then, obviously, due to Gail's reaction in the trailer, I kind of knew this was going to happen. And honestly, it was brutal. It was awesome. It sucks, but it's awesome. It didn't affect me until Gail and Sydney talked about it. I almost started whimpering right then and there. But when he dies, it didn't. I just kind of watched the movie and was stone-faced. But the second I heard about Dewey,
I'm like, bastard.
I kind of knew it was going to happen, I guess. I guess I should have known that Gail and Sydney would talk about it too, but it didn't. It was awesome. It was a pleasure. One knife in one side, the other knife the other side, and just.
I mean, as you're watching it, I'm sure you were thinking, as I am, having seen all the movies, you're going, okay, but Dewey could survive this.
Yeah, we got a live one.
Yeah, and then it gets worse, and you're like, maybe he could survive this. And then you're just seeing all the blood pour out and the gutting just happening, and you're like, he's fucking dead. Yep. He's dead. And
they did it.
I got misty-eyed. I did get misty-eyed when he was dying. And I follow a scooper that works for Warner Brothers on Twitter. I've talked about him before. Viewer Anon is his name. And he saw a screening of Scream months ago. And when the first trailer came out, he posted a tweet that was like, the line in the trailer that says, when you hear "Hello, Sydney, it's an honor," he says, that's two lines put together. That's not how it happens in the movie. And the "it's an honor" line is one of the most emotional, biggest moments in the movie. And I was like, okay. So that scene, as much as I hated that it was going to I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. And T. Parker, you're absolutely right. Woodsboro has no hospital staff. I just don't get it. I don't get it. There's a serial killer on the loose, and we've got one security guard. But and no,
they were on a private floor, weren't they? Did they go to a private floor at one time?
She got moved to the private floor after that. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Woodsboro just doesn't have staff. COVID, guys, it's really affecting a lot of businesses. They're struggling too. And I loved when Dewey, because you're like, Dewey's going to get his way out of this, and you think he's going to, because he's like, not today, and like shoots him, and you're like, yeah, Dewey, like, all right, get out of the elevator and let's go. And
I care.
It makes it even sadder. I think the reason that it hit me as hard as it did was because you saw Gail calling him as he's dying. And you're like,
that was sad.
That sucks. But I loved the "yes, today" as he's being like gutted, and then "it's an honor." I when I heard the line, I was like, oh, this son of a bitch months ago was trying to warn people that line is going to be one of the biggest moments in the movie. And my God, was it. And it was a great line. It was used really well because it should be an honor. For anyone that's a fan of the Stab movies or the real Woodsboro killings, to kill one of the OGs, it should be an honor. You should be like, I got you, when 7 other killers couldn't. Like, right. Yeah, I'm pretty freaking proud of myself. Sean, real quick, with a super chat. Thank you, Sean. Thought Scream 2022 has been very overhyped. Solid sequel, but poor killers to me. Too meta even for a Scream movie. Mediocre characters. Hey, there are parts of that I agree with, Sean. I do. I do think that But I'm going to say I don't think it was too overhyped for me. I really don't. Halloween Kills was a movie that I feel like was a little overhyped for me, although I did enjoy it. This movie lived up to my expectations. But I appreciate your super chat, Sean. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you saw the movie. I'm glad you didn't hate it. I don't want people to hate this movie. Find things in this movie that you like, because I think it's got a lot of redeeming qualities.
Absolutely.
So there's the Dewey stuff. All right. Well, then Sydney's coming back. And I thought that was a perfect way to bring her back. And I think the filmmakers knew that when they were writing this script. It's like, how do you get Sydney Prescott, with everything she's been through, to willingly come to Woodsboro? One of the original three has to die. They just have to. Because then it's personal to Sydney. It's personal at that point that, all right, you bastard. Like, if you're killing all these random high school kids, I don't really care that much. You kill my friends and I'm going to come back. So here we are. Sydney meets Sam. Sam says, nah, fuck that. Meanwhile, there's a four West party happening at Stu Macher's house.
That's awesome.
We're getting to the finale. What did you think? Did you like the encounter that Sam and Sydney had? Because I did and I didn't. Although I did because I thought it was believable for an ignorant, someone that's ignorant to this, like Sam, to not really understand, like, dude, like, no, I'm just going to get away from this. And Sydney's like, you can't get away from this. I hope you know that. You're never going to get away from it. What did you think about that whole exchange and how it played out?
I'm kind of indifferent on it. I think it would have been a perfect time for, Sam to say, we're just going to get the hell away from here. And then Sydney to go, I'm Sydney fucking Prescott. I've been through this shit. This is what we need to do and get these motherfuckers. That, to put it quickly, that was what a good, and I can't remember where this part happened, but Sydney and Gail are talking, and Sydney puts a tracker on the car, and she's like, that's kind of Gail Weathers. I thought that was hilarious. Jumping ahead, of course.
It's something Gail Weathers would do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. I really thought Sydney and Gail worked very well in this movie for the limited time that we saw them in. I really, really did enjoy that, actually.
I thought the OG cast was used brilliantly. And that's something that I feel like it's a slippery slope. I mean, you're going to bring them back and also try to get me invested in a new cast. Like, you better do it the right way. And I think they did. I will touch on that as we wrap up the movie here in a few. But so we get to the climax. And at this party, you get a lot of these moments that are very meta, very self-aware, but also very smart in the sense of, like, Amber and Mindy in the basement. Like, why you could be the killer, or you could be the killer, or Chad and Liv. And she's like, hey, like, let's go. And he's like, no offense, but
maybe
you could be the
I
killer.
pretty much rule you out, but
And I thought that was great. I love the inclusion of this kind of stuff, because at some point the people in Woodsboro have to be aware of the history. And now that it's happening again, don't take any chances. Who would want to die? Like, look,
right.
I think, maybe you're not, but maybe you are, because it's always someone and I'm not going anywhere alone with just you. So I get that.
It's on the poster.
It's always someone But let's talk about one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and it is the mirroring of Randy from Stab with Mindy on the couch, and she has the wherewithal to turn around
behind you.
And I thought that was beautiful, because I thought what was going to happen right there was she was going to die doing exactly what Randy did. Luckily, he didn't die, because, he did die, but not in that moment. I was like, she's going to die right here. And it's going to be so on the nose, but she goes, look behind you. And she's like, well, you know what? I'm going to look behind me. And I'm like, thank God that you were smart enough to do that. What'd you think of that scene? Was it too on the nose for you, or did you like it?
What's funny is when I first saw that, I actually thought they were watching Scream 1, and I thought that was Randy for a split second. For some reason, like, are they playing Scream? Oh, no, it's a Stab movie. Actually, they looked the same. They were wearing the same clothes from what I recall. But Mindy as a character, I'm like, there's no way they're killing Mindy and Chad off in this movie. No matter how bad they get hurt, there's no way. And I love the fact that, yes, at the last second, she looks behind her, gets stabbed, but survives, and we'll see her in Scream, whatever they decide to call that. Probably Scream Forever.
Scream kills. Christian and I were talking about it's gonna be Scream kills and Scream ends.
I have to watch that stream.
Oh, it was. We had a blast. I mean, it was so fun. But yeah, so and then the reveal happens. It's Amber, and the way they revealed it was freaking mean, man. Like Liv's like, "I'm not the killer," and she's like, "I know you're not." Bam, just dome rocks her. Well, I'm like, "Holy shit!" But I will say, we're here at the killer reveal, guys. I was not surprised by Amber at all. I suspected her from the beginning. I got thrown off a little bit thinking it might be Liv in the third act. I was like, I think it might be Liv. But then when it ended up being Amber, I'm like, knew it. But then you get the line of like, well, there's got to be another one. And it's like, oh shit, who's the other one? And I love this whole sequence when, you get your Sidney Prescott Ghostface call, because it's got to happen in every movie. And I was really hoping we would get it. I was like, we're getting to the end here, and I haven't gotten it yet. And I love her reaction, like, fuck this, I'm bored, and hangs up. Like, that was great. And then she shoots Richie, and he's like, I'm hiding in here from murderers. And like, he's like, oh shit,
it's Ghostface.
It's Ghostface. Yeah. And I'm like, even up until the very last second when we find out it's him, I'm really believing this guy. I really think he just does mean well. He's really ignorant. I believed him. And then the reveal happens, and I was kind of like, okay, that one was a little surprising. And Ben mentioned a good point. The scene where Richie introduces himself to Amber. My wife said the same thing, and I just didn't see it. I don't know. I have to watch it again. I'm seeing it again this week. She was like, I knew when they met in the hospital. She said they exchanged a glance, and she was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's them. So if I'm the filmmakers for Scream 6, don't have a moment like that.
Less
don't
predictable.
Don't have a moment like that, because there were people watching this movie, Ben and my wife, and I'm sure many other, that were like, it's them. And I didn't catch it.
Me.
Yeah, you did. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, don't have that moment. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, third act. This, I feel like, is the weakest act of the movie. But it's not weak. This movie is like, as Drum Dums would say, trapped on an island for me. I loved this film. But I feel like the third act is a little derivative at times of the first movie. So what did you think of the third act?
I didn't mind it, other than the killer reveals, which I knew probably about 30 seconds into Richie being on screen for the first time at the bowling alley. I knew he was the killer. When he got stabbed or got cut, I knew for sure. I want to comment real quick on Mindy one more time. The part where she's downstairs with Amber and she's like, because I'm the killer. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I thought that
was going to be the reveal too.
And of course it did happen. I just want to touch on that real quick, because we didn't really go into details about that particular scene. But I think it was cool when Sydney arrived at the house and she's like, I don't want to have time for this. She's like shooting doors before she even opens them, like not fucking around anymore. And then you get it mirrors the scene in Ready or Not to a certain degree, where the one guy's hiding in the bathroom. It's a character from Orphan Black. I can't remember his name. He's kind of hiding in the bathroom, not wanting to participate in killing this chick. And like the killer, Richie's hiding and, probably talking on his voice changer in there. And I thought it was cool. And I didn't have any doubts, because I'm like, there's no one else unless it's like Stu. There's no other red herrings. It's gotta be Richie. And then I love the part where he reveals himself and like tells Sam, I'm sorry. I know. I think that was pretty cool. I don't mind the end. It's predictable, but I liked it myself, and we all obviously have different opinions, and I can't really say anything negative.
I liked it too. I just feel like the second act of this movie was probably the best second act of any Scream film, and that includes the first one. And I genuinely mean that. It is, whether it's the Dale. See, now I'm doing what you were doing, the Dewey and Gale stuff,
yeah.
And how emotional that is. Whether it's the Dewey just immediately knowing who the killer was, like, yeah, it's the boyfriend. I got to keep an eye out for the love interest. Like, he's done this so much, he knew. And
You
know,
listen to
whether it's
Randy's teachings.
yes, I mean, there's just so much about the second act that I thought was just fantastic. I mean, like top tier. The Wes and Judy Hicks scene, like it was brilliant. I mean, it was brilliant. But here's my thing, and I don't know if you agree with me on this. I feel like a big reason why, and I still love the third act, guys, but I think a big reason why I'm like, it tapered off just a little bit for me. I wanted more Sidney Prescott. I wanted more Sidney Prescott. I mean, she is the reason this is a franchise. Like, let's not lie. It's Wes Craven and it's Neve Campbell. I just really think that is why Scream is what Scream is. And you know, if Neve Campbell is announced as being a part of a new Scream movie, you better get some Neve Campbell. And they used her well in this movie, but I just wanted more. I just wanted more. And I do love, like, Amber is such a pussy. And it was so funny. Both times they're about to kill her. And she's like, no, like, it's not my fault. I was brainwashed, blah, 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 blah. And like, so like, she was just not intimidating at all to me.
No.
I would have knocked her the fuck out. But I loved when it was such a mean line when she says, you killed my best friend. And she says, yeah, and he died like a pussy too. I was like, I hope she dies a horrible death. And she did. She did. And
well, we thought she did, but then she got back up, and then Sam
Yes.
had to, Sam or Tara had to shoot her at the end.
Tara. Yeah.
Okay.
But
It
I
was
loved
great.
the when she says, like, this is a passing of the torch, and then when she's on fire, it's like, enjoy that torch. I loved that. That was it was great. It was just like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Like, I don't know.
I love that Sydney Let's Gale shooter. That was good. I think you'll get this one.
So, well, then here we go. Because Apollo asked a great question. You're right, T. Parker. Kevin Williamson as well. Although I will say this is the first movie without Kevin Williamson writing it that I felt like a Scream movie for the most part. They really showed we can do this without Kevin Williamson. We can.
He had some say in it.
He did. But he didn't get a credit as a writer, which I thought was surprising because I'm
executive producer.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably did look at that script a few times ago. Maybe don't do this. And if that were the case, he should have gotten a writing credit, but I digress. Apollo says, what was ultimately the motivation of the killers? The motivation of the killers was
the stab
toxic
movies.
Fandom and how it can go to levels that's unsafe at times. And this, it's really tearing people apart. And it's proving their point. If you're seeing the reactions to this motive online, there's people that are really getting mad about it. It's like, you're proving the filmmaker's point right now. I hope you know that. But regardless, they loved the Stab franchise so much, and they felt like Hollywood was out of good ideas, that they were ruining something that meant that much to them. So they said, fuck it. We are going to give Hollywood source material to go off of, because clearly they can't make a good movie anymore on their own. So their entire motivation was, if we can recreate a new Killing Spree, it will spawn more Stab movies. And if our Killing Spree is a good one, then the Stab movies will be good Stab movies. And we'll get the best of both worlds. We'll get to live out our dream of being Ghostface while also live out our dream of continuing to get good Stab movies. Is it a far-fetched motive? You could say it, but you also could say no, because we've seen fandom take people to pretty low depths before. So that was the motive. What'd you think about that?
I don't mind it. I mean, we've heard the motive of, we just want to kill Sydney because we want to, and I'm going to blame the movies or motherly love, or because mother wouldn't accept me. You know, I think this was different, and I'm sure there'll be other movies where we get, you know, more crazy killers that are more just out to get Sidney Prescott, not just because the movies are not as good anymore. But ultimately, I didn't mind it for this new Scream series that we're getting. I don't know how many there's going to be, 3 or 2 more.
45.
That would be awesome. I'll see every one of them open night. I must say, though, my opening night crowd on Thursday night didn't react to anything, and I'm a little upset about that. I don't know if they were true Scream fans.
I saw a video from another country of our audience reaction to Neve Campbell on screen for the first time, and
they don't clap or anything like that.
Yeah, they were clapping us. I thought that was cool. We didn't get that in my theater. We did get. I'll never. This was great when Richie stabbed Sam, and she looks at him, and I literally had multiple people in this theater. I heard them going, "I fucking knew it. I knew it was him." Like, I was hearing it, and I was like, That's a pretty cool reaction. Like, you don't get
Mhm.
reactions like that a lot of times in horror movies anymore, it seems. That was really cool. I gotta say, I thought it was beautiful how they did the old fashioned zoom out with the news reporter, just like the end of the original. And then you get the original font for Wes. I clapped for that.
Absolutely.
That was it. It definitely did feel like a tribute to Wes Craven in a lot of ways. And I'm just Christian and a lot of people are talking about toxic fandom and the motive, and I think it's a great motive. It is brilliant. And T.
I
Parker
agree.
says people on Reddit are literally proving the writers wrong or writers right by saying they should reshoot this movie with things they want in it. Like, you're proving their point. Like, this is such a bad motive. I'm going to lean into that motive. Like, do you see what you're doing here? But regardless, whatever. So I want to ask you, did you walk away from this movie with the same thought I did? I walked away from this movie going, if this was the last one, that's fine. There's finality to it. But at the same time, there's so many avenues you could go down, and I feel like that is brilliant writing. Hey, stop. And that's how I walked away from this movie, was like, if that was it, cool. But you could explore this, you could explore that. There's this, there's that. And I think that if you can walk away from a movie that kind of has loose ends, but doesn't really feel like it, I feel like that's a greatly crafted story. How did you walk out feeling?
Like the first time I saw it, I remember my opinions changed. I thought it was okay the first time. Maybe because I was trying to play detective the whole movie and figure out everything before it happened. But I was watching this movie thinking for sure that there was going to be a follow-up to it. And I must say, going back on the end, but not the end, the part where Sam is stabbing Richie over and over and over again with Billy kind of watching like, yeah, that's my daughter. And then she goes like this with the knife. I thought that was awesome. That's like the one good scene. I didn't like Sam as a character yet. I feel like she has room to improve for the next movie, but I felt like she was probably one of the worst things of the movie as far as like the characters. Just because Mindy and Chad, I feel like were so strong, and of course Sydney, Gail, and Dewey. But I thought going into this there was going to be another one. Watching it, I thought there was going to be another one, and I feel like they should do something different. Have Ghostface get away. I've seen this online. Have Ghostface get away in the next movie.
There was like a thing going around where people were saying that's what should happen. That would piss so many people off because you wouldn't get a killer reveal, and people would be like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I would feel that way too. But at the same time, I would be like, "That's kind of brilliant." Like, to wait 2 movies to find out who the killer is, like, that would be kind of brilliant.
Well, you could do this. You could have there be some lackeys that the killer has and have them do all the work. And then at the end, have Sydney or Sam get a phone call. It's not over. It's only just begun. Something like that. And then that's got to be Stu, in my opinion, which.
Yeah, okay. So you bring up a good point. I'm going to tee right off of that, Jason. Okay. 2 things. 1, if you didn't see it, guys, Jason pointed it out to me. Kirby is alive. It is confirmed in the movie. They would not confirm this in the movie if this wasn't going to matter. Okay? When Richie is watching the Stab 8 review from Dead Meat.
That was awesome, by the way.
Yes, it was. One of the suggested videos on the very top, it says interview with Woodsboro survivor, Kirby Reed. And it's got a picture of Hayden Panettiere. I think that's how you say her name. And it's a recent picture too. She has long hair and everything. Mm-hmm. So great Easter egg. They are telling you Kirby is alive. And T. Parker, I believe, said that, if I'm not mistaken, that Dewey, when he's going through his phone, has Kirby's number in his phone.
I didn't catch that. Wow.
Yeah. He said that. T. Parker, let me know if that is correct, because I didn't catch that either. And if that is true, I'm like, ooh, okay. Hey, Andrew, what's up, man? Yeah, we have seen all the Scream movies. We're both big fans. Yes, both big fans. I got to tell you this, man. And then, okay, so we talked about that. Let me know, T. Parker, if I'm correct about what you said about Kirby in Dewey's phone. I also noticed, and I talked about this with Christian on the podcast, and I want to know how you feel about this. I just feel like anytime they talked about Stu, they were very vague. And I think that was on purpose. I think it was on purpose that there was never this like, yeah, but he died. Stu Macher died. No, anytime they mentioned Stu, it was very vague. They mentioned how Billy died, but
I
not
fucking
Stu.
killed him.
Yes. But
Previous movies, at least.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you feel like, oh, they were kind of vague about Stu, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a tie into Stu with Vince that we didn't really learn anything about. I think Stu comes back at some point. I know Matthew Lillard's just chopping at the bit to get back in this series. That's why he does cameos in all the movies. Well, I don't know if he did one in this one, but as a background character that walks by, I think it would be great. Even though the mastermind is supposed to be Roman, who actually had a cameo in this movie. Did you catch that?
I did. Dawson's Creek.
I didn't catch it. I learned that from CP, or no, not CP, 3C Films. So that was, I didn't, somehow, some way I didn't catch that.
His name is Chris Parker, so CP is also technically correct.
That is true. So I think ultimately, if they will bring Stu back, because they never like, have they even confirmed like Stu is dead? They always say I fucking killed Billy Loomis. No. So I mean,
part of that is intentional because Kevin Williamson always had planned for Stu to come back in the third one. So for the first 3 movies, there's no mention of Stu Macher being dead. Well, then when you get to Scream 4, I'm sorry, but they don't even like talk about Billy or Stu like pretty much at all in Scream 4 because it's, reboot, new rules, new decade, all this kind of stuff. It's on its own
island, Scream 4.
So that's what I'm telling you. This entire franchise has never said Stu Macher is dead, but they have made it a point to say, yeah, Billy Loomis is dead. That motherfucker got shot right in the middle of the forehead. He is dead. But Stu, yeah, he was a killer with him too. Oh, but is he dead? Yeah, he was a killer. Yeah, he was an accomplice. But they just won't say it. So I'm like, Kevin Williamson, whatever you have to do to get Spyglass and Paramount to agree to because I feel like people are overthinking this. And by the way, that is a great comment, Jaden. Scream 6, Kirby's Big Adventure. Let's do it. No, they didn't, Justin. They did not confirm he was dead in Scream 2 because Kevin Williamson planned on bringing him back in the third one initially. He had a trilogy mapped out. And so there was no mention of that.
There was a script written for Scream 3. He was the killer in Scream 3. And then the Columbine stuff happened, so they redid the whole script. So
Apollo wants to know, how did Richie's motive differ from Jill's? Well, Jill's was she wanted the spotlight.
She was jealous.
She wanted to be Sidney Prescott, which I always felt was a weak reason to kill so many people. But I mean, it is a motive nonetheless. That was her motive. It was like, I want to be the final girl. I want the attention. I feel I deserve it. I'm tired of someone in my family getting all that. Whereas Richie, yeah, he just wants good stab movies back. He feels like they're ruining his franchise and he's not going to stand for it.
Richie seems like Stu to me, like a relative of Stu.
Yes.
I've thought he was a great character, despite being a predictable killer. I thought he was funny and added something to the movie, and I'm kind of upset that he's not going to be. I
agree. And there's the comment about you're telling me a 5'2", 110-pound teenage girl that took 3 bullets to the bulletproof vest with piss poor motive kills Dewey. I will say this: the only reason I was okay with it, and I could tell myself I was okay with it, was because he was distracted. That's the only reason he died. His phone rang, and it was Gail. Had he not got that phone call, Amber's getting a bullet in her head right there, and it's over. That she's at least dead. But he got distracted, and it's the same way if you're driving a car and you get distracted for an instant and you end up wrecking. Doesn't mean you're a bad driver. You lost focus for a second, and anything can happen in that 1 second.
When they put the Ghostface cloak on and the mask, it gives them special powers.
It does. Yes. They become a ghost. But so I'm just saying, I think that people are reading a little bit too much into well, you can't bring Stu back. He's definitely dead. That would be so it's a slasher franchise, guys. Can we relax? Can we stop acting like this is like, I mean, I love these movies and I think they're very competently made, but these aren't movies that are going to be nominated for Oscars. Okay.
It should be.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, with the box that Hollywood has put horror in, we're allowed to work in parameters that certain genres aren't allowed. And fan service is a big part of this genre. So if you can explain away that Stu lived, I mean, Kevin Williamson, the genius that is Kevin Williamson, always had that be his plan. and he's a genius. So if you can explain a way where it's like, this dude was severely injured, almost died, like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm not reading too much into it. Cool. I didn't see him die. I did not see him die at all.
I
I
just
know
saw
people,
TV electrocute him. That was it. I've been electrocuted
and
before.
I have seen plenty of, there's people that have been struck by lightning that lived, people. That's a real thing. And I think the voltage from lightning is more than a TV, but I digress on that.
It was a heavy tube TV, though.
It was, but hey, maybe he's a little looking,
Probably.
whatever it is. Regardless, I think that it can easily work. So spoilers galore just there. We're going to be wrapping up here in a minute, but I want to get, Jason, your final thoughts on Scream 2022. What you think, man? What do you think overall?
I am completely satisfied. It actually exceeded my expectations. The first time I was like, okay. But the second time and the third time and the fourth time, I really liked it. It's not my favorite. It hasn't passed 2 or 1 yet, but it's definitely a solid entry into the franchise. And that's what we needed. A solid entry that is creating buzz. People are talking about Scream 2022. I had somebody in a comment section get mad at me because I referred to it as Scream 2022. And I'm like, that's what they're calling it. Just call it Scream 5. Well, yes, but it's not being called Scream 5. But I'm very happy with it. And I'm glad that it's almost positive feedback. I hear negative stuff every once in a while about it, just with it's predictable. But people still like it, even though it's predictable. So I'm very happy and definitely looking forward to another couple more.
Hey, man, I completely agree with you. I do not mind calling it Scream 2022. In my heart, it's Scream 5, and obviously it is Scream 5. But it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I loved it. Scream 2022 is the way you reboot a slasher franchise. As much as I love Halloween, and it pains me. It pains me. Scream 2022 just shits on 2018 and Halloween Kills. I mean, it takes a fat, steamy dump on them.
Wow. I can't believe Nick said that.
Oh, I said it on the podcast too. I mean, it takes a dump on them. And, that's partially because Blumhouse is so formulaic with some of their horror movies that they, at least with Paramount and Spyglass, they gave these filmmakers free roam to truly make a Scream movie, not a modern Scream movie. Right. That's the problem. Halloween was so caught up in, we want to honor the original, but it's got to be a modern Halloween movie. We got to modernize it too. Scream didn't get caught in the weeds of that. It didn't care if you thought it was funny. It didn't care if you thought it was clever. It was a Scream movie at its core. And I appreciated the hell out of that. And I think a big reason too is I like David Gordon Green. Don't get me wrong. Tyler Gillette and Matt Bettinelli-Olpin are far better filmmakers than David Gordon Green. And that's just another fact. And Danny McBride, I don't think I'd put him up against James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick as writers. I think they showed with this movie they're pretty damn good script writers, whereas Danny McBride has to talk about peanut butter on penises. So don't get me wrong. I enjoy Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills quite a bit. But this movie's just better. It's just better. And I'm very excited for where this goes from here. I'm very excited. The possibilities are endless. I cannot wait. And by the way, I just want to say something really quick to everybody. And thanks for thanking me for a great stream, guys. Jason, 2 weeks in a row, has brought it on the channel, and I have appreciated having him on here. And he's definitely going to be on here a lot more because I enjoy the conversation. As you guys have seen throughout me being on this channel, I meet people through just being in this live chat. And I'm like, you know what? Get your ass on the channel. You're a cool person. So everybody out there, don't worry. I'm not some hotshot at all. So, I'm more than willing to bring people on here and friendships are awesome. And I've made a very good friend in Jason and I've appreciated him being on here. And I look forward to more, but I just want to say to you guys, there's a lot of people out there, I won't mention names, Christian knows, that are poo-pooing the box office of Scream. Yeah. oh, well, oh, you know, it's just, it's okay. Okay. I don't care about your thoughts on this, guys. You know, not being disrespectful. I'm not getting in the weeds with this. A lot of theaters are still closed down because people are still getting sick. It's a fact. A lot of people are worried about going to the theater. That's also a fact. It still made over $30 million for being the 5th movie in a slasher franchise that's 25 years old and beat Spider-Man No Way Home, which has been raking in the dough for a month now. It had one of the biggest openings of a Scream movie. That is a fact. I think it's going to end up being the second biggest behind only Scream 3. So I just want you guys to understand this movie did not underperform. It made $50 million worldwide in its opening weekend. We're probably looking at 120 to 130 million worldwide when it's all said and done, which will put it right on par with the first 3 Scream movies. Oh, and the budget was only $24 million. It made its money. It exceeded expectations for a lot of the naysayers that said movie theaters were dead. And you know what? If you think that it underperformed,
wait till second week. I think it's going to do almost the same this week because people are excited about it. And that picture that you have with the big, tall Scream standee, my movie theater is giving that to me. I can go pick it up tomorrow if I want it.
First of all, Rudy, thank you so much. For Wes, absolutely. And did you have to pay for that?
Nope. I go there a lot.
I go to mine all the time. I should call them and be like, give me that fucking...
You should ask them. Because they might just give it to you.
I might call. I literally might call tonight and be like, hey, so how can I take that off your hands?
It helps to know the bartenders and stuff like that. So it's not like I just go there a lot. Like I know the people and I communicate with them. And I talk to them all about streams and screams and all that. So they know about this stream. I don't know if any of them watched, but yeah. So they're giving me that big tall standee. And it's going to go in my background if it fits, which I have a lot of room behind me. So hopefully it does.
Hell yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, hey guys, look, thank you so much for being a part of this stream tonight. If you haven't left a like yet, please leave a like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm that always tries to bone us little YouTubers. If we don't make clickbaity, trendy titles on our videos, YouTube doesn't put us out there in the algorithm as much. So make sure to like, share it with your friends. And we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Everybody that super chatted tonight, especially you, J-Dev. I appreciate that very much. I'm glad it seems like most, if not everyone here, liked Scream 5 Cream. I'm excited for 6 Cream. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Again, J-Dev, thank you for being on, buddy.
No problem.
And
anytime you want to talk about Scream, I'm down.
Oh, I know. I'm going to do a video later this week as well, guys, with a new Scream franchise ranking, including Scream 2022. It was pretty easy for me. As soon as I walked out of the theater, I was like, this is where this one places for me.
Yeah.
I need to watch one of the other ones and then watch this one again. And maybe it jumps another spot, but I'm pretty confident right now. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, guys. As always, if you have not checked out J-Dev's channel, head over to J-Dev TV. He calls himself the self-proclaimed Scream guy, as Justin and I are the self-proclaimed Halloween guys. So if you like some Scream content, or you just like horror content or movie and TV show content, head over to J-Dev's channel. Make sure to subscribe to him. And yes, I'll open. Let me open it. Sorry, guys. Yes, T. Parker, I will also be doing a ranking video on The Killers. And we'll see what next week's stream is. I'm not sure yet, but we got some more Scream content coming this week. So, again, check out J-Dev's channel. Like the stream. And thank you guys so much for being here this evening. Hope you all have a great week. And go watch Scream if you haven't already, Justin.
Yeah, Justin.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.